Hey guys, welcome on back to the channel. I am Faith, of course, the Divine Faith. We are in for another celebrity chart reading. I know this one wasn't really on the suggested or the requested list, which I still will be doing things on the requested list, but I'm trying to be as diverse as I can when it pertains to the celebrities that I am doing. So this one is going to be on Shia LaBeouf. Now, some of you may know Shia from Transformers, but I remember Shia whenever he was on Even Stevens. Okay, that was my show on Disney Channel. Like, seriously, I used to watch that show a whole bunch, and that's where I knew him from. So when the news came out that he was going to be in Transformers, I was like, ecstatic at that time, because even on Even Stevens, he was definitely the goofy brother, the annoying brother. Okay. He did definitely have his funny moments and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting. And yeah, so I am going to be looking at his chart. Again, I'm going to try not to make it too long. I just want to look at a couple things in terms of, aspects, etc. I'm still trying to figure out who I'm going to do next in terms of a couples reading. So I don't know what the next composite or synastry chart is that I'm going to do. I have to find one. So yeah, I do know that there still are a few musicians that I need to look at, which I will do that. I've pretty much been doing musicians a lot, so I'm trying to let that cool down for a second. So yeah, here we are. So we are at Shia's chart. Okay, now, as I've said before, I do like to look at the date that they were born. Shia is a sun in Gemini, but outside of that, Shia is born on the 11th. Now, in numerology, they say the number 11 is a master number, but, based off of my sheet, which I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see my sheet here, maybe. Oh, maybe you are. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. You should be able to. But either way, so based off of my sheet right here, we haven't really had a number 11 day. We've been doing a lot of nines. I think we've been doing a lot of eights. Okay. But he has Scorpio energy attached to him. All right. So with Scorpio being tied to Mars and it has a co-ruler of Pluto, we will take a look at both of those planets to see what they are doing in his birth chart. And I love the fact that we have an exact time for Shia's chart. That definitely makes my life easier, and yours maybe not so much, but either way. So yeah, as you can see with this number 11 energy. Now, with that Scorpio energy, I would say coming through with that number 11, master number 11, to me, it makes me think of someone who can go deep. It reminds me of literally like the ocean. Think about, we've only explored like maybe 10%, not even that much probably, of the ocean. Okay. So you never know the depths as to how far, how deep the ocean goes. And to me, I kind of get that type of energy when I think about this number 11 tied to Scorpio energy, the depths that these individuals can go that we won't even know. Or we can just say that's about Scorpios, period. Scorpios, maybe we can relate them to the ocean, where we only end up knowing maybe 10%, 8% of who they are because the water runs deep. The depths of who they are runs deep. Now, if you are somebody special, important in their life, then maybe you could get 20, 25%. But the vast majority of people are not going to be able to discover that Scorpio energy, like maybe other signs. Okay. So with that being said, when it comes to Shia, even though he's not a Scorpio, maybe in some sort of manner, we could say the depths of him are still yet to be discovered. Okay. So if something comes out about Shia and is possibly negative, and if it's an energy where people don't want to listen to it, we got to take a step back and think about the fact that Shia is born on the 11th day. So the depths of who he is as a person, you don't have a clue. So we can't sit up here and automatically say, no, he would never do that, because we don't know for sure. He is the ocean, or people born on the 11th, or like I said, Scorpio energy, they are the ocean. Okay. There are, life forms in the ocean that would probably blow our minds and we would be no good. I know I would. Okay. But either way, so as you can see with this number 11-2 energy, the highlights here are inspiration, motivation, spiritual will, magnetism, cooperation. And I would possibly say with this spiritual will, that can be somewhat of like a double-edged sword, in my opinion, because maybe this spiritual will can also be an energy where you may be prone to spiritual or psychic attacks. Because think about it, Scorpio is very spiritual. My opinion, possibly, if we're going to rank the water signs in terms of spirituality, I would probably say Scorpio first, in my opinion, Cancer second, Pisces third. Even though Pisces is spirituality, Pisces fear that depth of spirituality in a way. Kind of like they stop themselves from going there. Scorpios don't care. I'll go there because I'm already the ocean as it is. So why not explore the rest of me? But I would say possibly in another thing as well. I mean, with this 11 energy, this may even be somewhat of like a late bloomer type of energy when it pertains to transformation. I don't know if maybe there's a little bit of late bloomer energy when it possibly pertains to education as well. But this does give me a vibe of someone who may struggle when it comes to finding themselves. So they may get experimental. So Shia may have been maybe somebody younger or maybe now where they are experimental in some sort. Like I hate to say it, it almost, and maybe this is just energetically what I'm getting from him. It almost feels like a pit of darkness. And I know that sounds terrible, but I'm only saying that because as soon as I said inspiration and I tied it to that 11-2 energy, it made me think that this person may possibly be kind of dark, maybe, or this person may lack feelings. Hence where I say you don't have a clue about this ocean because you haven't even really dove into the ocean. You only see the fact that it's an ocean, it's big, it's empty, okay, in a way. But you don't know what lies beneath the life forms. It could be whole colonies or somewhere, you know what I'm saying? So you just don't know. But he may possibly be someone who lacks feeling, maybe lacks emotion, and he may try to go through certain experiences because he's trying to feel emotion, but yet he can't necessarily understand, why don't I feel like everyone else? And that's just what I was getting energetically as soon as I said inspiration. Not saying that he's not inspiring, but this may even be someone who can inspire you, but they feel nothing. Like, I can motivate you. I can be your personal trainer. I can be your teacher. I can get you where you need to be, but I don't feel it. It's like him I wouldn't say that you would want to hire him to make a speech for like a call. I just would say no. I don't think you would possibly want to do that when it pertains to him because he doesn't feel it. What's the point of me asking you to come speak to the future kids of America and you don't even feel what you're saying? You yourself are like, I mean, I really don't believe that, but whatever. So it can be kind of dangerous in some sort of a manner where we may have someone, and this may have possibly been earlier on, who they may do anything possibly for a check, even if they don't necessarily believe it. But this is peak propaganda. Okay. So, like a figurehead, a talking head, he may have possibly went through a period of time like that when it pertains to his career. We have motivation. And that's what I said. I could see him possibly being somebody where he may motivate you, but it's almost like I'm dead inside, and I don't know if he necessarily has that look about him where he's like dead inside, but he may be giving you some good stuff. He may be giving you some good pointers, but it's very monotone. That's the type I would say he may possibly talk with a monotone voice. I haven't all I can hear in my head is the way he talked in Transformers or even Stevens, but I don't actually know how Shia LaBeouf talks outside of a movie. I just really don't know. And you would think I know, but I just don't know that. Okay. Magnetism, but that's that Scorpio energy. Magnets. Maybe sometimes the magnetism can be bad, because magnetism, it may be that you are magnetizing bad things to you. As we can see, we have cooperation, collaboration. Didn't I just say this is peak propaganda energy? Yes, peak propaganda energy when it comes to Shia LaBeouf. A lot of collaborations. I don't know how many collaborations that he's done, but maybe he's left a lot of collaborations on the table. But that could also be a part of his magnetism as well, where they are being attracted to him in that type of manner. Now, what are our challenges here with the Scorpio energy and the 11-2? Our challenges are, we can have a fearful. I don't know if this is true or not. I don't know if Shia possibly has some sort of psychic abilities. Maybe, I'm not sure. Okay, but because as soon as I said fear, immediately I was hearing this is like a fearful psychic, or someone who is fearful of the visions of the things that they see, rather it be dreams or rather it could be whatever, deja vu. So he may have a lot of deja vu, honestly. I mean, I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if I don't know if it's a situation where if you have a lot of deja vu, then you are tapped the hell in, or you could just really be remembering. Maybe it's a past life thing. I don't know. Okay, I haven't dove deep into the deja vu realm. Another challenge here, we have emotional instability, which is what I talked about. Remember, before I even looked at it, I was like, just the lack of emotions. I just wasn't getting that. Okay. Or when the time comes where he has emotions, it may just be one emotion, possibly just anger, but the anger may possibly be built out of fear. Okay. And then we have indecisiveness. Okay. Which, even though we get onto Libras for being indecisive, Scorpios are just as bad. Okay. Scorpios are just as bad when it comes to indecision. Sometimes they just don't make a decision at all, so that they don't have to make a decision. Okay. Now, the lessons that would need to be learned with this particular energy, we have learning to lead others without needing to prove yourself or your self-worth. But that just goes back to me talking about that inspiration. How can you lead me to where I need to go if you don't believe what you're saying? He does not need to be a salesperson. I mean, and if he is a spokesperson, it has to be very scripted, because I don't necessarily think he will be able to sell something speaking from his experience, because he's just so shut down. Now, this is just my speculation. I'm going to look at the chart in a minute. Another lesson: do not impress your personality on others. So I hate to say it, in some sort of a way, energetically, I feel I'm getting like a cult-like type of energy from Shia. So, I mean, I don't know if that's a thing, or I don't know if he is interested in that type of story, history, however we want to label it. I don't know, but it's giving cult-like because of that fear that you have, that emotional instability that you have, that feels more so like anger. It comes across like it's easier for you to pull magnet. It's easy for you to magnetize other people into you, to, wash them up, shake their brain or whatever it is, to make them more like you. Because, it could be a control thing. It feels like a control thing to me. So I'm not saying that is happening, but I am getting kind of like a cult-like type of vibe. But it's all coming out of his challenge-based energy, the energy of fear, emotional instability, indecisiveness. And if these particular fears are out trumping his strengths look, let's be clear. We have highlights here that can speak to strengths. These are good strengths to have, if we're going to be honest. But if you're operating more out of your challenge type of dynamic, then it feels like you will just want to bring somebody into your world to make them just like you, because of a safety blanket or just to control issues. but really you don't want to face something within yourself. Remember, I said we have the depth of the ocean. And that's the crazy thing about the ocean. The ocean probably don't know what the hell is in the ocean. It's just like, but anyway, so let's go back to his chart. So he has, is Mars exalted in Capricorn? I think it is, because Mars is at fall in Cancer, if I'm not mistaken. So, where is it? Yes, Mars is exalted in Capricorn and it's in the 11th house. However, let me see where his 12th house starts, because we may have to, because I've been learning in the book I'm reading that if it's within a certain degree of if it's on the cusp, pretty much if it's about to head into the 12th house, then we may have, the book was saying you have to pretty much count it as it's in that house. So if his Mars was in the 6th house and is right here about to go into Virgo, then we could say, okay, this is like a 7th house Mars. Okay. So I need to look and see what degree his 12th house starts on. And let's look at the degree of his Mars. Okay. Mars is at 23 degrees in Capricorn and is retrograde. Repressed anger. But we may have a very rebellious child on our hands, especially when it pertains to authority figures. This may be the child who rebels, and then now all of a sudden you think you're the authority figure. Discipline. I hate to say it. I don't know if he was disciplined, but he possibly, and not disciplined in like that, super strenuous way. Discipline in terms of, okay, ain't none of this, ain't none of that, ain't no TV, ain't no cell phone, ain't no sports, ain't none of the stuff that you like to do because you think it's a game. Okay. But anyway, let's look at his 12th house and see where that starts at. His 12th house starts at 27 degrees Capricorn. So his Mars is within 4 degrees of the 12th. So honestly, I think the rule was 5 degrees based off of what I was reading. So we would kind of treat his Mars as if it's in the 12th house, which we know the 12th house is what? Subconscious. Didn't I tell you guys? Subconscious. Okay. But we know the 12th house is what? It's hidden from plain sight. Sometimes the 12th house again may be hidden from yourself, which is what I've been talking about. So he may be someone where he doesn't know, even he may be shocked by how angry he could possibly get. Okay. Now with my opinion, I would say he probably has burner accounts, maybe to pick up women. Okay. I really don't know who the hell he's dating, to be honest. I know he just had a baby, but I really don't know who the mother is. Okay. Or I don't know any of his past relationships for some time. I thought he and Megan Fox were going to date because they had that thing going on Transformers. Okay. Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly may be an interesting one, but Megan Fox is deep in the spiritual realm. If you've ever seen her recent interview, she is all over astrology, and I really don't feel like being bothered, so I have to think about that. But anyway, because she knows Machine Gun Kelly's whole entire chart from beginning to the end. Okay, so very witchy woo. But she's in the middle of Hollywood, so I wouldn't, it's probably a lot of them that do that. But anyway, so back to Shia. So with his energy, I would say his energetic footprint, because remember I said I'm looking at the day that he was born. With his energetic footprint being an exalted Mars in Capricorn, I don't want to say the golden boy, but maybe in some sort of manner, it could be somewhat like the golden boy, especially when it pertains to authority figures. But this is someone who possibly may take things too far. You can't give this one even a little bit of power, because boom, head just explodes. Even though like I said, his Mars is exalted, so he can really work with his energy in a good manner. But my opinion, he may be emotionally unwell. Because his Mars, as you can see right here, is exalted. Yes, it's hitting his moon in the 6th house of health. Okay. But also the 6th house is what? Employees, employers. Hence why I said, he may be, Well, good, I guess. He may be a go-to. I don't know the word I would say when it pertains to higher ups. Okay, they may be smitten by, Shia, because remember what I said. He has that energy to be the inspirational person, the motivating one. Okay, so he may possibly, when it pertains to like his movies or something like that, his work ethic may be bananas. Like he really may dig into that. And that is good. That is a good trait for, I would say, anybody to have, especially when it pertains to him, and then with his Mars being in the house of hopes. And I think hopes and fears are 11th. I could be wrong, but it's more so wishes. I was thinking about Celtic Cross for a second, but more so wishes. Maybe growing up, he kind of was just like, he wished upon a star. I know that may seem kind of corny when it pertains to possibly being like famous, but he may have actually possibly did that because his energetic footprint to me is sitting in that house of, celebrity pretty much, because the 11th house is Aquarius. Aquarius is actually tied to celebrity industry. Okay. So, but, this may be kind of dark. Again, anything that I say in these videos are just all alleged. A part of me is feeling like he, in some sort of a manner, may have been shopped around the celebrity industry in some sort of a manner, or being exposed too soon to things in the celebrity industry that a child should not be exposed to. Could be both. Okay. Because like I said, with with his Mars being pretty much on that cusp of the 12th, when we pop that in the 12th house, secrets possibly tied to the bedroom, possibly tied to sex. And another thing, I can see Shia possibly being a person who blackmails. Remember I said we may have an energy of somebody who is overexposed in a manner to things that are happening when it pertains to the house of the 11, house of the, celebrities. I don't know if he has an older brother, or I don't know if maybe an older brother or something like that would have been in maybe the celebrity industry first, or they may have been like the one who was encouraging him to be in the celebrity industry. 12th house is also bed pleasures, okay? And his 12th house lord, which should be Aquarius, if I'm not mistaken, unless his 12th house is Capricorn, because, those charts kind of do that. Okay, yeah, it's like Aquarius. Oh, Aquarius is first, Capricorn is 12th. Either way. I don't know. I'm going to take a look at something about Capricorn on the 12th. Just a second. Okay, I'm back. So is what I was thinking. It says those with Capricorn on the 12th, which would make them an Aquarius ascendant. A lot of people may trust them with their secrets, and they're taking on the most mysterious projects, which is something that I was saying anyway before I even really knew about, what Capricorn on the 12th meant. Okay, but they can be conservative and dependable, but their unconscious fears can sometimes limit them, but they possess the inner discipline and they love working from their shadow side. Didn't I talk about this? I talked about this with him being born on that 11 energy, where I said the depths that he can go. Okay. But also I just don't really feel like it. Maybe it's robotic, but I just don't necessarily feel he's feeling like maybe you or I would feel. For me, it seems his are just have been suppressed too much. And it could have been by, like I said, I was getting possibly being shopped around in some type of manner when it pertains to authority figures. And that may be, unfortunately, where I said you can't give him that much because it's going to get out of control. But it could be the authority figure's fault because they're doing things in front of him because what? He's going to keep the secret. He's not going to say anything. So we may really be surprised at the amount of secrets that he holds, but I'm not surprised because he's the ocean. Okay. Yeah. And even with his Mars kind of hitting his moon, his Leo moon, his emotions could possibly be like a tsunami. But I said, I feel he's emotionally unwell, but I would say, he may be someone where his health issues may come from suppressing his emotions or his emotions are just too much, where he's constantly angry or stressing or something like that, and is causing issues when it pertains to his health. Now, his Mars is also hitting opposite his Cancer Venus in the 5th house. Okay, and we know the 5th house can be a house of sex, more so casual sex. Intimacy is 8th to me. The 5th house is also children. Not shocking, he had a girl first. That Venus in Cancer. But the 5th house also can be fame as well, huh? Maybe a woman, maybe an older woman is possibly at the helm of putting him in like the spotlight, but I still feel like in some sort of way he did wish upon a star, but maybe it could have been one of the, I hope not. I hope it's not a situation where a woman, older woman, could have possibly took advantage of him in that type of way, and hopefully she, well, on no parts it's not okay. But it feels like this one may be in the industry. My opinion. Okay. I'm not sure if they are in contact with one another. He has also quite a bit of squares as well. His exalted Mars is making a square to his North Node in Aries. Aries is what? Power, the athlete. I don't know why I want to say maestro. So I don't know if maybe he wanted to be a DJ, or maybe that's something that he likes to do. Second house we know is finances. So again, I don't know his family tree, family history, but we know Aries is normally the first house, So Aries would be the first in a manner. So him being the first in some sort of way when it pertains to financially speaking, doesn't mean like he's like the first person in his family to, have this amount of money. He could be the first person in his family to squander it, to blow it, because he can't control his anger. Blowing money fast, okay, may be this guy. But because this is kind of, if you can kind of see here, this is kind of like making a triangle, and it's all pointing to this North Node in Aries in the second. Well, North Node is in the second house, but Aries would be considered the third house in this particular chart. So his childhood may have been very uncertain, unstable, rough, violent. Okay. It's, I don't know why it gives me this energy of maybe even somebody who had to fight, almost just like, okay, I'll give you some money if you go fight that guy. I don't know if he was the fighter or he was the one paying somebody to go fight. But that's just what I feel. He does have his Jupiter at home, in the first house. But his Jupiter is making all these squares. Normally in my opinion, Jupiter moon and also Jupiter midhaven. And when I say the midhaven, I'm talking about the highest point of your chart is a midhaven, and normally is labeled with this MC. But if you have Jupiter making an aspect to your midhaven, or Jupiter making an aspect to your moon, people love you. Not all the time, but people love you. It's like they give you a pass in some sort of a way, but it also is a good aspect whenever you want to get help from the public, because they're kind of just like, not that they feel sorry for you, but for some reason they just want to help you. You're just like, all right, but he doesn't have that at all. His Jupiter doesn't hit his moon. His Jupiter is not hitting his midhaven. So people may not really rock with Shia. They may possibly say that he's arrogant, because think about it. Even though Jupiter is at home in Pisces, we got to think about, Pisces has his co-ruler of Neptune, right? So maybe people may say that maybe he just does too much, or he's irritating. Okay. Remember what I said, you can't give this one too much power, because he's going to abuse it. It may somewhat be an abuse of power, but maybe the abuse of power more so comes when it comes to women, females that he may possibly date, have sex with. I don't want to say it. My opinion, allegedly, or maybe he beats the women that he has sex with, but maybe in his mind, it is all a part of the game of sex. but maybe not necessarily for them. He needs some healing. And like I said, with his third house being on Aries, if his childhood was violent, that would make sense why I said, you need some healing. And again, I don't know if he has siblings, but his third house, which would be, like I said, Aries is tied to Mars. His third house lord would be in the 11th. Maybe there was a fight, a struggle when it pertains to siblings, or if he didn't necessarily have any siblings and he was the only child, he may have acted out because it may have been, man, I really wish somebody was here as a buffer, maybe so I don't have to take the abuse that I'm possibly dealing with. I don't know if it was physical or it was possibly mental or emotional. Okay. Anyway, so was his father like a banker or something? Maybe not. Or like, I don't know, music. It feels like banker, musician. Again, I don't know about this guy's family history. Anyway, so, and you see how he has the Chiron and Gemini in the 4th house. Lord knows what he's done to his fingers. His fingers have probably been slammed in the door, probably been cut off. I don't know if maybe it's giving kind of Catholic school or maybe boarding school, but maybe not necessarily the good one. I don't know what the school would be, but for some reason I'm seeing him writing and he's like in a classroom, but I'm seeing like a nun come through and pop the shit out of his fingers with a ruler. So possibly a lot of damage when it pertains to his fingers. Okay. But also Gemini, Mercury is also the skin. Okay. But we know Mercury is the intellect. Okay. So this is given an energy here where the healing, he may have not necessarily gotten healing words while at home because his his Chiron in Gemini is in the 4th house of family, in the 4th house of mom. Maybe the issue is, I've been talking about daddy issues, but maybe this time the issue is a mommy issue. And so the Chiron in Gemini, because Gemini is the wordsmith, is the salesman. Okay. So like I said, it literally could be that energy where emotional or mental wounds need to be healed, maybe because of things that was said to him whenever he was a child. Probably negative. Okay. Probably negative. But yeah, because look, it looks like his Chiron is also squaring his Pisces Jupiter. I don't know if he likes the color, but it's weird because I'm picking up things that I feel like he may like to do, but maybe he wasn't necessarily able to express himself in that sort of a manner. Okay. And you would think, like I said, with Jupiter at home, it would be fine. But, oh yeah, selfish, maybe. That may be something else that people may describe him as selfish. Maybe even sometimes people call him an idiot, possibly because of things that he did. Because like I said, Jupiter likes to expand. Sometimes too much expansion can be a bad thing because you get beside yourself. Okay. Yes. He is very, I don't know if the word is a chameleon. He may be somewhat like a chameleon because he has his Jupiter making a square to his Uranus. And we know Uranus is very unexpected and it's in Sagittarius. So we may have somebody who likes to pop out with a different aesthetic, maybe every couple months. Like I said, chameleon or something like that. But that goes back to me talking about with his Scorpio energy. He's trying to find himself because deep down, it may just be like darkness. And, it may possibly be weighing on him in a manner where he's kind of just like, I don't understand why I can't feel. I don't understand why I don't feel like how you feel. I don't know when it possibly pertains to him, being a father. Hopefully he doesn't repeat. Hopefully he doesn't rinse and repeat, things that he went through in his childhood onto his child that he has now, because that is just not going to be good. In my opinion. I mean, because children is moon, right? So I don't know, health issues, or could have possibly been maybe born with some sort of health issue for him. Okay. Maybe specifically tied to the heart. Something about magnesium, which I don't know what the benefit of magnesium is, but that may be something that he may possibly need or lack, or he's lacking. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I've been talking a lot. I haven't really looked at any degrees. So let's take a look at the 23rd degree of Capricorn. What is that about? Okay. He has Sagittarius on his midhaven, doesn't he? Yeah, but look, Saturn is up there. Here's another thing for you guys to know. Saturn on the ascendant, that's tough. Saturn close to your midhaven, it's almost damn near conjunct. Looks like it. That's 11 and that's 5. Yeah, it's almost conjunct. Saturn on your midhaven can be kind of difficult as well, because it kind of is, we know Saturn is restrictions, but it also can be time, patience, authority figures. But yeah. Well, and I would say with Sagittarius being tied to publications, writing, teaching, gurus, this may also be negative press. Like, he may not really be able to get away from negative press, even if he possibly tries to clean up with it. What? Rinse, repeat, recycle. It's like he may go on a good press run or something like that for maybe a couple months, and then boom, something disparaging comes out about him. I'm telling you, I don't think the public is really rocking with him. And another thing is, too, it's possible that the public may even believe the negative press, even if it's not necessarily true. But he also may be someone where he doesn't come out and defend himself. He may just like let it linger, Mm-hmm. Let's look at Capricorn, 23 degrees. Music, authorities, sincerity, frank, blunt. Yeah, that makes sense. Humane, a teacher. But that, I already said it, where I can see him, I can see him being in that type of position when it pertains to being inspiring, motivating. But in my opinion, I just don't really think he feels it. And it's so weird that I said, does he DJ? Does he like to DJ? And I didn't even think about that. Then I read the degree, and it's a degree of music with the Capricorn 23rd. So that's interesting. Okay, unless he meets his women at the club, but that may be his thing. He may like the club, possibly because of the music, maybe more so dark, grunge or something like that, or heavy metal. That may possibly be his thing, or that may be the type of woman he likes to date. Heavy metal, awkward, maybe. Okay, because his energetic footprint is hitting the Venus. So musicians, maybe. Okay, he may want to date musicians, and it may be he may date those musicians that may sing about certain things in their music, kind of just like certain, I don't know, certain things that they may want to try or something like that in the bedroom. Just an example, and he may take that literally, and they may be like, "What are you doing? Like, I just sing about that. I'm not really trying to do that for real." So yeah, but he's blunt. Okay, he is, but that also may be a turnoff to people as well. His bluntness, but that also may be what works in his favor whenever it pertains to higher ups, because of the fact that he's blunt. He may be someone that comes in out the gate when it comes to maybe setting boundaries, kind of just like, this is what I want, and if I'm not going to get it, then F you. It may be one of those things. Okay. See what else we can look at. Then we're going to call it. Okay, his purpose is, maybe Shia LaBeouf actually may do better away from Los Angeles. So I'm not sure, because it says he was born in Los Angeles. I don't know if that's true or not, but it says his excellent birth time, so we're just going to go with it. So it may be better for him to move away from Los Angeles. As we can see, we have his Saturn, which would be tied to his destiny, in the house of the 9, which is long distance travel, possibly tied to, the foreigner as well. We know, again, guru. I think the ninth house would probably be considered law as well. Okay. But he just may do better away from his home place. Okay. But he may not really feel comfortable being photographed either. Like, he may be very reactionary. If somebody is saying, hey, let me take your picture, he may take your damn phone and crack it against the wall. Maybe. Because, and that's just me. I just don't necessarily see Saturn functioning that great towards the midhaven. Maybe I'm being, ignorant, I guess, a little bit about that. But I just, it would not say it can't. I just saying it would be difficult. Oh, would you look at that? Okay. It's weird that I said it may have been the mom instead of the father. Mommy issues. Look at this. Moon Pluto is making an aspect and is making a square. Hate to say, maybe he feels, or maybe he felt like his mom didn't love him. I don't know if he maybe was raised by somebody else, but even if he was raised by somebody else, it could have been the same thing. Feeling like that they don't really love me. Emotions, you just don't really know where you stand when it comes to your mom. Or if even if he has the Moon Pluto aspect and he doesn't necessarily have any issue with his mom, the issue may still be maybe feeling like a screw up. Like, you are becoming your own worst enemy. You're sabotaging yourself because you're so consumed about making a mistake. Possibly, if he had a good relationship with his mom. Too much pressure on himself, I would say, to be all these things. And maybe, I don't know, maybe he decided to wish upon a star to be this prominent figure. So he could get that from his mom. It's like, maybe if I be successful, then maybe my mom is really going to tap in and really tell me that she loves me. And it's just like, no. So he may have took a path to do something to fill a hole within his heart, and maybe it just got bigger. It's kind of sad. And I definitely am not condoning him, because if he is abusive, shame on him. But this feels, maybe he was raised off of survival in some sort of manner. Even if he came from a prominent family, there's still a matter of survival here that he battles possibly every day. Okay. So guys, this has been like a quick, not really quick, because 40 minutes is kind of long. This has been somewhat of like a quick reading when it pertains to Shia LaBeouf. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one.